Okay. So, hi folks. My name is Paresh Motiwala. I'm from Boston. A lot of you may not like, but we are a place where Patriots used to once win, Red Sox used to once win, and the Bruins used to once win. I live about 2 miles north of the Patriot Stadium, which is almost totally empty without Tom Brady till you guys stole him from us. But without much ado, this is actually fairly informative and interactive. The more interactive you make, the more fun it will be. I do jab a lot of funs at people, so please don't feel hurt about that. The other thing I would like to share is if you're here because you don't have anywhere to go, you can just give me full marks in the speaker review, and then you can be the first person in the hall where they actually give out the prizes. So I think I can actually let you go, but the key is that you have to give me full marks on everything there. But otherwise, cool. So I'm a DBA at Navisite. We are like a one-stop shop for all your database requirements, and we are 24/7. We have, I believe, about 800 DBAs, and we're operating all over the world actually. And I currently have 12 primary customers and 12 secondary customers. So a lot of what was discussed in the events today is something that I eat, breathe, and live every single day of my life. Do check out Navisite. Actually, there is an opening on my team right now for a DBA. So if you're looking for a DBA position, please reach out to me. Would love to definitely work with you guys. This is my contact information if it ever works. Yes. So the key today is not Alcoholics Anonymous. This is getting nailing and getting and nailing your Azure interviews. So the things that a lot of people struggle is, let's put the job hunt into two parts, right? One is how do you get a freaking interview, and the second one is how do you actually get through the interview, right? So we'll look at both of them. A part of this you might have actually also listened to during Ray's presentation on Networking 101. So this will actually really kind of reinforce what Ray said earlier today. And there might be a quiz actually if you were listening to Ray or not. Um, so about me, right? You can tweet about Paresh Mutiwala or Boston BI. I run and this is my LinkedIn. The only pet peeve for me, and I think some of my other friends on the call now, is that if you're going to reach out to me on LinkedIn, please tell me where you met me, or I will not accept your friendship. Okay. So please do that. I'm not a shy person. So if you want to reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, there's one more, and I don't care. But yeah, so anything I'm there, there is a whole bunch of database professionals on these social medias as well. Uh, 2 weeks ago, actually, right now, I was having, guess what? Lunch with our good friend Brent Ozar in Reykjavik, Iceland. So as I said, I'm a DBA at Naviside. These are the leadership positions I have currently, the DBA virtual user group, which is actually replacing the past virtual user group that used to be there, and the New England SQL Server user group is the oldest SQL Server user group, I believe, in the country. And Boston BI is the largest BI based user group on the eastern seaboard. I don't know about the western seaboard. So my group has about 3,500 members. New England SQL Server user group is actually pretty close to where that is. Um, and Teob, you might have heard him today. He's also awesome. So Teob and Vlad, they run the New England SQL Server user group. Teob and I run the DBA virtual user group. We have some awesome sessions coming up, and we have speakers almost confirmed till the end of December. So I also organize a lot of SQL Saturdays, the Boston BI SQL Saturdays, the AI Saturday, the Providence SQL Saturdays, the Boston Global Azure Bootcamp, and you just name it. And I'm a de facto photographer at a lot of these events. Okay, and if you are on the any sort of data group on Facebook, you will see some of my pictures. And even after the event or during the events, we take a lot of selfies and post them on the Twitter. So if you are missing this, I do believe I have this slide coming up in the end, but I look forward to your positive or negative feedback. Um, and whatever I'm telling you here is based, yes, after making some stupid mistakes myself, but also from listening to great friends like Ray. And even if you see Christine Asaf today, if you ever heard her, she's awesome too. And so a lot of this is based on personal experience as well. I also run a company called circlesofgrowth.com. Please check it out. We teach the art and science of public speaking. I've taught more than 550 students now, and we also teach the art and science of interviewing, um, either for a job, for college, or for private school. So please do look it up. Look forward to connecting with you anyways. So so what are we going to be talking about today? So we'll talk about networking and volunteering, like how you basically build a network so that when you fall in a way that you're kind of laid off or fired or the company just folded up, then it's your network that is going to really save you. Using social media, uh, just by show of hands, if somebody can tell me how many of you are on Facebook. We can talk about it. Why not at the end if we have time? And I do believe we should have time. But social media is an extremely powerful tool for you to look for a job. And I'm not kidding you at all. It's much maligned. People will tell you, oh, yeah, you have way too much time. My take is, hey, if Grant Ritchie can be on Facebook or Brent Ozer can be on Facebook, I'm sure I can be there too. And wait, our great friend Ray is also there. So third thing, keep looking always, right? Even if you are in a company well settled, don't shut out the idea of something good coming your way. Why? That also we will find out. Speak at events, present, whether it's your company at an event like this, at a user group, right? I'm sure Southern Florida is looking for user group presenters too. Um, Provide training, blog. This the only thing that I don't do is blogging, and I'm pretty crappy about that, and I really need to pick up on that. So, but what are the benefits of doing this is something that we will talk about, and what are not the benefits. Then we'll say, okay, now that we did all the above things, and finally somebody noticed my crappy resume, how do I prepare for the interview, right? So we'll go through the tips that are very crucial for you to succeed in the interview that you do before the interview. Then what do you do during the interviews, right? Subtle differences, a lot of changes in the behavior. There are two things that I will be doing as a side note every single time. And if I don't, then just go ahead and bring it up here. But whatever I say here is generally valid for Azure, and it is also generally valid for Zoom interviews. But if it is not, I will go ahead and make a point to say that, okay, if it is then virtual interview, then how would you behave and so on. So how do you maintain records? How many of you have actually maintained records of the jobs that you applied for? Even I have records from 5 years ago as to where I had applied, and some of the companies I actually noted down never got back to me. And would I actually want to apply to the same company? Not unless I'm on the street. Follow up. Yes, you were looking for a job, you got an interview, you went through the interview, you're good at maintaining records, but you need to follow up. Whether you got the job, you didn't get the job, especially if you didn't get the job, how would you follow up? Okay, so let's talk about that as well. And we'll conclude having some fun and see how it goes. Okay, so let's start by um, networking and volunteering. Okay, so there are a lot of ways in which you can network. SQL Saturday is one of the biggest things I miss. SQL Saturdays or user group meetings is the in-person meetings. Going ahead and hugging your friends, right? Having pizza with them or ice cream or beer, it's absolutely priceless. Um, The other thing is, look at this. Again, I use the name of Brent or Grant or Thomas LaRock or just anybody else that comes to your mind, right? You would be lucky if you are in the same zip code as these guys, but now suddenly you are in the same room. It makes a tremendous impact. The idea is not to ask him a tip or them a tip. Hey, um, Eric, Erin Stellato, right? Actually finished a performance tuning class in Pluralsight. Um, I have this problem. How would I handle it? No, don't waste those personal moments asking very specific pointed questions. Just listen to them talk, see how relaxed they are, and so on. So, in person networking, great way. Virtual networking would again come down to social media or an event like this when you will be in the same meeting room. I don't know how effective that is, but definitely watch out for that. If it's an opportunity, go ahead and take it. Then volunteering. So here's the other example I'm giving you, right? Networking, volunteering. When I was actually volunteering at my son's baseball game, this is like a decade back, I remember the international director of IT was right next to me, and she worked for Reebok, which is literally like 5 miles from where I am. So we struck up a good conversation, and there was an opening in Reebok where I had actually asked for her reference, and she was very kind to give me that reference. So again, there's a big shot who is at the same level field, right? And pun intended here, that you are here sitting with a director of IT or a vice president, and you are both at the same level. There is no boss or anything like that. This is an excellent way to volunteer and also network at the same time. Um, my earlier job that I got, there are two things that separated me from the closest rival. But the vice president actually told me, Paresh, the only reason why you have gotten extra points over your nearest rival is the amount of work you do for your community, not just the Indian community where I do singing for them, for fundraisers, I do photography, right? I even put in extra hours. But for the community, the amount of work that I do for the BI community or the AI community, SQL community, he thought it was absolutely priceless. And he thought that I would be able to bring that level of energy to the organization as a manager of the database team. So again, somebody is noticing what you're doing. So don't think that networking and volunteering are phony, that that's just meant for people who have too much time. No, don't do that. You also have your plus sides for doing that. Yes, you have to invest time, which means that you can't go home and watch Dancing with the Stars 5 days a week, right? Sometimes you have to stay back and help out the other people. Participate in professional groups, whether it is your SQL Server group or Windows or PowerShell or Azure, whatever it is, do participate in these groups. Okay, it will really change your life. I am not kidding you at all. Not just as an attendee, mind you, as a speaker, as a volunteer, right? That is so crucial that you actually do that. Okay, churches, for example, right? Can you imagine what happens when you are in the church? Same thing that happens to you when you are at your child's baseball game or a football game, right? Absolutely fabulous opportunity for you to interact with somebody who is a big shot. Mind you, you are now the same set of people going to the church with the same set of beliefs. Okay, what better way to, like, remove any thresholds for connecting with each other, or bars, sports teams, right? I just told you about those too. Okay, here, let's look at this. Just kind of roll through this quick. So job boards. If you are looking for a job, Go ahead and sign up for as many job boards as possible. For the first month or so, I struggled indeed with Indeed. Um, it has that AI kind of platform which actually then slowly tunes to your requirements. And it's a very good place to start. Monster used to be good. I don't know what Monster does anymore. Career Builder, again, I do get sometimes one or two emails from them. But the most important hunting ground for you should be Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Believe it or not, yes, Facebook. But the key is if you are going to be using um, or you're going to be blurring the line between professional and personal network, I would say clean up your profiles. Like this kind of image on your Facebook is great if your boss or your industry standard other people from the senior members of your HR are not on the same network as you are. I would suggest clean up your social media profiles. Sorry, guys. Including if you're on a Twitter and you have an anti-government rant somewhere, I would say please go ahead and remove that. I'm not against First Amendment, but the idea being that First Amendment has its place, but not in the corporate world. So just watch out for that. Clean up your social media profiles, whether it's Instagram. If you are expecting to connect with other professionals, please clean them up. The other thing is that I have found that a lot of companies actually ask you to log in. Even if they don't ask for the password, they say, okay, can you show us what your Facebook looks like? Guess what? I'm sorry, I'm having some really bad pictures there. No, that's a really stupid thing to do. Always be prepared that they might actually ask you for that. So just saying that. Uh, they also have these web crawlers, right, which can actually go about looking up for you. Chances are in some posts, if you did not mark your privacy very high, they can just go ahead and Google you. Actually, if you Google my name, Paresh Motiwala, you should see all that I've said on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and so on. So clean up your profiles, guys. Okay. I conducted an interview. Okay. These are some of the things that I'm just going to not read what is written here, but when I was leaving the company Hasbro, right, the game manufacturer, I had to interview several people uh, to be my replacement there. And I remember people who were actually interviewing with me were either in the train or in on the road walking while interviewing. Uh, Not a bright idea. They were interviewing while there was TV going on in the background. Not a smart idea. Okay. This actually pisses off the interviewer big time. They'll say, oh, it's so nice to meet you, Paresh, but you suck and you don't want that to happen. So always be in a very quiet place. Now, quiet meaning not just noise wise, right? Because if you are on the interview, whereas on the left side of your screen, now right now I have three screens here, right? So in one of the screens I'm watching cricket, the other I have my Facebook running here, the third one is where my Teams is going on, the fourth one is where actually I have my emails popping up right, left and center, right? And what happens during that time, you get those ping sounds, and every time you get those ping sounds, you either lose hearing what the guy is saying or he will lose what you are saying. So that is why quiet means any sort of distraction. Okay, audible distractions or visual distractions. Cool. Don't talk about your personal life. Yeah, you know how my wife and her mother are, right? I mean, no, don't do that. um, Resist the urge to multitask. I'm a DBA, I'll be very honest, I would just die if I'm not multitasking, except in the interviews. What I do is I just have this table kind of go up and I detach myself from the computer and the keyboard. I just let them talk and listen. The only reason why I want to be close to the computer sometimes is if I have to take notes, which I strongly encourage you do take notes. But do not multitask. Close all other windows that you are having open. Um, do not get into the money conversation in the first interview, please. Okay. Actually, why did I say this? Because I even have a session where I say, how do you get through second round of your interview? So looking forward to that someday. Never put your interviewer on hold. Okay. Hey, sorry, it's my wife. You know how she is. She always calls me when I'm in the middle of work, right? So definitely avoid doing that. Uh, Never, ever skip Q&A sessions. This is your time to lower the barrier in your conversation, make it simple, ask easy questions for them to answer, because most of them you would have already studied ahead of time, hoping that what the company can do for you, what the industry does, and so on. So, but do not miss the Q&A session, which actually in the next slides, I will show you something else about the Q&A, okay? Never be late. But this is life. You can be late, right? So how would you handle that? Anybody wants to write a quick note here if you are late? Just a quick. Okay, so nobody wants to give an answer, but I'll tell you why. If you are late, and what you can do is make sure that carry the name of the HR person and the phone number on an easily accessible note, either on your uh, phone or on a piece of paper. Lot of these companies, for example, if you are interviewing at, say, for example, in Facebook, chances are your recruiter from HR is actually reaching out to you through a job website. Try to find their phone number when you are in a rush. It'll be a tough sell. You can't do that, which means that you can't even let them know that you are running late, right? So definitely make sure that you have the numbers easily accessible. If you are going to be late, call them and tell them, hey guys, I'm sorry, but I'm running late. Okay. It has happened to me. And it's Boston. Traffic is awesome, right? Over here. Cool. Uh, and don't assume the reception is good. Now, this is one of the things that I always teach my public speaking students also is when you get up to speak or are you interviewing, whether it is in person or Skype. In the Skype, if they are asking you to turn on the video camera, make sure you check with them. Can you see and hear me properly, right? Because there's one thing that Microsoft has not really mastered in all the technology is the Bluetooth technology. Okay, and it can sometimes suddenly just stop working in the middle of the interview and so on. So just be very watchful of that. So ask them if they can actually do that. Never talk over the interviewer. Okay. Do not preempt their question. Let them finish. Repeat after me. Let them finish. Okay. And then you have every time in the world to go ahead and respond. Skip filler words. What are the filler words? I have corporate goals. I help the company find their or get to their corporate goals. Come on, guys, stop kidding me, right? So don't use this big. I'm a hardworking, enthusiastic DBA. Okay, cool. Don't use those big words, okay? Don't go in blind, which means study the company, study the industry, and study the interviewer, okay? Nix long-winded answers, right? Do not give very long answers. This is not a test of your ability to write an essay, but the people who are interviewing you are also possibly going from one meeting to another meeting to another meeting. They don't have the attention span that you would normally like them to have. So give them short answers. You can look into their eyes and see whether they really understood what you are saying or not. Okay. Short answers that mean don't talk about politics no matter what, please. Okay. No discussion about the masks, no discussion about the vaccines. Okay. Not yet. So watch out for the background that you have in the back here, right? Um, I had like a Patriots pennant over here, which did not make some of the people from Florida very happy. And I hope you guys don't mind. I don't know where you are from, but watch out for what's there in the background. Yeah, you don't want dirty linen hanging. These are all very clean. There's my son's guitar there and so on. But that looks about okay. Prepare, right? The fundamental things about interviews. Okay, that's the first rule. The second rule, prepare. Okay. Third rule, prepare. Okay. And know your FN subject. Seriously, guys, if you are going to apply for a SQL DBA, and if you cannot answer what is the difference between a clustered index and a non-clustered index, you'll be amazed how many people we have to reject even in the first round of the interview. Okay. If you are going to be going as a developer and you don't know what a windowing function is, and you say, oh, wait, I never actually work on Windows, I only work on SQL. Fail. Okay, so know your subject. Yeah, this is the fundamental thing in the interview that you shouldn't. And remember your resume. Please don't put things in your resume just to grab attention, but things that you have actually done because they can actually catch you. Hey, wait, here you said that you have actually developed JavaScript based front end thing. Now, can you use the JavaScript to make sure that the JavaScript can get the details out of the SQL Server database in the what? No, you don't want to do that. So remember your resume. They may say, but here you mentioned you did this. Yes, and you better have an explanation for that. Okay, so remember your resume by heart. Okay, and if somebody says, yes, you said this is the which page? Can you be kind enough and show me? Ah, well, I thought I read that. Yeah, okay, great. Shut up. Okay, let's proceed with the interview. Research the interviewers. Okay, there is a chance, you know, the 6 degrees of separation and blah blah blah. You will really benefit if you research your interviewer ahead of time. There is a chance that you may know somebody as great as my friend Ray over here, and you can use him, talk to him, and say, you know, I'm having a meeting with this guy called Paresh. What kind of a guy is he? Can I refer? Can I name drop your name or something like that, right? And you'll know where he has been. For example, if he has been in the same company for 15 years, keep that in mind. Actually, these are the things you really want to make notes. And when you are interviewing with that person, make sure you bring this up. I mean, I'm amazed that how committed you have been to this organization. Obviously, you have been there from the very beginning and so on, and flatter the heck out of them, right? Cool. Research the company, and then same grounds, research the industry. Yeah, I know you find that the company is great, right? But we are the only company in this industry that is doing good. What about this industry? Yeah, I like this industry. For example, my favorite answer is the healthcare industry, right? You know, no matter what happens in America, unless there is some drastic change in the way in which we do our healthcare, that industry is never going to die. So, absolutely, that's a good industry. Education industry will never die. Okay. So these are 2 or 3 industries that you should always be a part of, right? If possible. Okay. Let's continue. By the way, sorry, one thing I wanted to add about the company, right? Uh, Actually, you will see that most of the companies, their websites are nothing but a bunch of noise. Uh, they will have some serious business statements that doesn't make any sense to you. But what you should do is look at their press releases. If they have a Dow ticker, go to that ticker on your phone here, and you should be able to find out any new press releases that they might have had. And these are the things you want to remember. Yes, I'm happy you're doing good, but why Navy site? Yeah, well, this is why, right? Always keep looking. Okay. Why should you keep looking? But I'm happily employed, right? So my take is just because you're on a diet doesn't mean you can't look at the menu, right? And the main thing that being that get a hang of what is being asked for a specific job. So there's one girl I'm training right now in the interview, and she wants to be a Tableau developer. And guess what? She had no idea what questions are being asked for a Tableau developer. So I didn't tell her this in the first stage, but I asked her or went to Google and found out 100 most popularly asked questions for Tableau. She could not answer 90 of those, but yet she develops very complex Tableau dashboards. So what's missing here, right? So you want to actually make sure that you know that and what they ask. So when you are looking for these kind of jobs, you're always keeping apprised of what's actually being asked in the interviews also, not just in the job description. Okay. So just as you prepare for technology, right? Prepare for the interviews too, is the bottom line. Cool. Food habits. This is more for the in-person interview, right? Um, what do we eat, correct? Let's see. What do you don't eat before? What do you don't eat on the day off? And let's go back, sorry. So let's talk about this. Don't eat strong smelling foods on the day off or the day before. Why? Because a lot of these foods actually they create body odors which are very offensive. And yes, I have actually been told that by some of the interviewers that whatever garlic you had in the Indian curry that I had day before, don't do that. So if I have an interview, you don't want to piss the people off in the first site itself, right? It's like successfulsingles.com, right? You want to make the first impression as a very good impression. On the day of, wait, same thing applies, but even by just brushing your teeth or doing the mouthwash and all that doesn't really always help. As long as your belly has that strong smelling food, it may not be bad food. It's just like fish or whatever, right? Just avoid that. Please be very careful. Um, if it is a virtual interview, doesn't matter much, right? Okay. Personal looks, yeah, these are great clothes to wear at party, but not at the interview. Don't be drunk, whether it's an in-person interview or virtual interview. Okay, freedom of expression is awesome, but this is a no-no. Don't wear these kind of baggy jeans and so on. This is a good type of clothes that you want to wear. There's nothing like being overdressed. Okay, so if you find that these guys are all relaxed, what I have done is, in fact, actually removed my jacket and I undid my tie also, and I said, you know what, and thanks for making me feel comfortable. So do that. Floss your teeth. I can never tell you this enough number of times. There is so many times I've seen that proverbial piece of parsley stuck between your teeth, right? That's not funny. There are two reasons why. If it is visible, it looks ugly. If it is not visible, somehow you have your tongue going there, trying to get it out of there. It's pretty ugly. It's these small things that add up to negative things, right? Yes, Einstein was great, but would I hire him or even go to bother about interviewing him if he dressed like this? Possibly not. Okay. Um, you don't know who the interviewer is, like whether he likes the Einstein kind of hairstyle or not. So just watch out. Don't blow bubbles. I have seen that, especially a lot of whom we hired during my previous jobs were all student interns, and I can tell you they would always be chewing gum during the interview. I'm like, seriously, guys, don't they have this interviewing classes in your college? Why are you doing this? Absolutely brilliant people, okay? But unfortunately, definitely no tobacco, please. That urge to chew the tobacco just to make you less nervous or blah, 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 whatever the reason, not during the interview. Um, yeah, if you are having a beard, have it like him. Good, well-trimmed beard goes a long way, okay? So remember, national dresses, not a great idea. Formal clothes, super duper, okay? Uh, Mildly smelling deodorants, I strongly recommend when you're going for an in-person interview, okay? So that will really help you. Correct. Arrive 10 to 15 minutes, make it 5 minutes earlier if you are in the virtual interview, because there's a chance that they're actually running back-to-back meetings or something like that, and you just don't want to pop up your ugly head there, right? Okay. If you are going to be late, as I said, keep the number of HR person handy, give them plenty of heads up. If it is hot, I suggest go earlier than 10 or 15 minutes. Okay, go inside the office building, let the air conditioner actually cool you down a little bit. That actually also helps you lower the tension. but also the sweat will dry. Go into the bathroom, wash your face, use the deodorant that I told you, and go ahead and prepare yourself up for that. Okay. What is the other advantage of going early? Anybody wants to chip in? Okay, I will let you know. We don't have too much time. So yes, good impression. But the other thing is, and not many people will tell you, is what kind of a workplace is that? You can actually fathom that whole thing by just looking at the receptionist. Wait outside the reception area and see how people greet each other, how she greets the people, how she greets the new coming people or people who don't work in that organization. I just assume it's a she, but it can be a he too. So don't sue me for that. So the idea is get a hang of the overall environment. What is the level of positivity? Because you don't want to go to an organization where the receptionist is bitching all the time. The guys don't even look at each other. They're just frowning. Hey, how's your day today? You know, it is how it is. Same, same. Just the date is changing. Nothing else changes. Yeah, well, possibly not the best place for you to go for your next job. So always pleasantly greet the receptionist. Don't assume he or she has a great sense of humor. So be very humble, nice. You don't literally have to kiss her arm or the, what do you call this, the back of the palm, but yeah, definitely be nice. Don't carry a bouquet of rose for her. So during the interview, make sure your phone is turned off, please. Okay, a warm handshake. Do not use two hands in USA. Again, repeat my hands. Do not use two hands. Okay, it is considered as really intruding on their private life or whatever. So be very careful. Whereas if you are interviewing in the Middle East somewhere, most of the time you'll end up hugging them too, which is okay. Sometimes you end up hugging them and also kind of cheek kissing them or kissing them on the forehead. But that is the custom. So that goes as a part of your preparation. How do you do that, right? If they offer the coffee or water, please do accept it. Do not say, oh, I don't drink coffee. Don't be an idiot. I'm telling you why. Remember in the earlier slide I mentioned Q&A session? This is a good time for you to have a one-on-one with the interviewer because five people are not going to walk you to the coffee place, right? Only one person will. That's a good time for you to have broken the ice with them, talk fun stuff about local sports team and so on, right? Okay. Small niceties is what you really don't want to miss. Coffee, it'll give you that 5 minutes to gauge how this person interacts with you, right? Appreciate family photos, but avoid political discussion and do not assume the relationship of the person's photo with the interviewer. Oh, wow, your wife is awesome. Sorry, she's my sister. Oh, oh, your brother looks good. No, sorry, he's my husband. Yeah, you don't want to enter into that. Just say it's a nice family picture. Now, who do you have in your family if it is? If you do get to that personal level, then you can ask. But generally, just mildly appreciate the family photos and move on quickly. Avoid political discussions all the time. Exit line. So, what's an exit line, right? So, that's the key thing. If you don't take anything with you today except prepare, 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 and always look, look, look is the exit line. Why are you looking? Why do you want to leave the previous job? Oh, you were here for 10 years, right? Why do you want to leave such a great place, right? You better have a good answer. If you are going to do that, and if you want me to help you with that, tweet with my Twitter account, and I will definitely help you with that. Okay. Exit line is going to make or break your interview even before it starts. So don't ever, right? Okay. If possible, bring up mutual connections. Right? Okay. I know Ray, but don't try to impress upon them that you are here because of Ray and that Ray is going to somehow impress you to hire you, right? So no, uh, don't ask if you can work from home. Of course, right now I'm lucky because I'm 100% remote employee. So yay. Avoid the funny stuff. You don't know the level of their sense of humor. That's very, very bad. Okay. So um, this is most important. I think I should have put this immediately after the political discussion and exit line, do not bitch about the previous job or the company. It's a great place, actually. If I have to go to Mars and come back the same day, I totally depend on my team to do that, right? But this is what has happened, and that is what is prompting me to just look around, right? That's exactly what you would love to say. Refer to books, blogs, forums, professional groups that you are a member of. For example, guess what? Next week, my Boston BI is I forgot who is speaking, but there's that is Warner Chavez. He was speaking here today, so he's going to speak about introduction to Spark. And go ahead and bring it up. Let them know that not only are you looking for good training, but you are doing that in your own time. So that creates a very positive impression. Sitting. If you are going to sit upright. Don't slouch. Remember, don't slouch. I cannot tell you this more than 20 times. Okay. Again, as I said, avoid multitasking. Don't stretch or spread your legs like this, right? For example, yeah, this is not how you want to be in the interview, whether it's your in-person interview or virtual interview, right? What I do is, if possible, I just stand up in the same place, so totally negates my tendency to sit. Because I have been brought up the way I have been brought up as a child, I cannot sit with my feet hanging down. My legs automatically cross no matter where I am. Even if I'm in the plane, I'm in a five-star restaurant, wherever I am, in my office, my legs just fold up automatically. Some people may not like it. They may find it very offensive. Sit directly opposite to the interviewer if it's a one-person interview, right? Why? Because I kind of believe that there is something called as positive vibes. You want to catch those positive or negative vibes and see how the interview is going. This is a little philosophical thing, but they can actually look at all your facial expressions as you are talking, and so can you. Okay, cool. Yeah, I said that. If you are virtual, get a proper headset. Okay, this one that I have right now, this is my fifth headset and the longest lasting headset I've had in past 2 years. I have turned down Apple's AirPods because they totally sucked for me. Okay, so just so you know, these are the ones that have lasted me the longest, and I am looking forward to continuing with them. So, good headset, extremely crucial. Interviewing the interviewer, right? Remember, what's your team, right? What's your management style? How do you handle failure, for example, right? Um, what's your technology roadmap? Oh my God, I can tell you, if you ask this question and they have no answer, you don't want to go there. Also, on the flip side, you can actually ask them, what's your 5-year road plan, right? Which means that they are too entrenched in their way of thinking. They are not willing to reconsider it after 1 year, right? Because right now the technology is changing so fast, correct? Same thing with Azure, right? If you see that, okay, we are going to be going to Azure, right? I'll talk to you about this in a minute, about Azure as such, right? Then what's your technology roadmap? They'll say, okay, you know what? By the end of this quarter or by the end of the year, we want to go to the Azure or the AWS or Google, of course, because this is a Microsoft heavy seminar. It's good to be Azure. Uh, why do you have this opening? Is this somebody got fired? Did you have a workforce reduction, or he just left, or is this net new, right? Definitely. What do you expect from me, right? First day 1, day 30, day 90, right? So the key is, don't give them a pass by not asking the question. You may think, oh, if I ask questions, this means that they will think that, oh, I'm too demanding. No, they really want to see how interested you are in the job. Okay, so please tell them what you think about the training. A lot of people that I have interviewed, and I'm telling you, I have interviewed more than 500 or 600 people in the past 5 years. The most common failing, again, I don't want to be a racist, but in Americans, is that the only real training is the training where you get to go to a company-sponsored training only during company hours. If it is a company-sponsored event on a SQL Saturday, no, that's not a good training. If it's a company-sponsored event in the evening, no, that's not a good one too. If it's a free event, then, well, company is not doing anything for me. So you want to make sure that you communicate that, yes, you do attend events like these to get training, and you are more than welcome. If the company has a specific project, then they can definitely train you upon that. And that is one thing. But if the interviewer does not have the answer for the training, oh, it depends on what you need. We have lot. Okay, so what are the last time you sent somebody for a training? You know what, that's the time he will actually show you a middle finger. Well, we don't actually, because everything you can want to learn, you can Google it nowadays, so watch out for that. Okay, then closing. Hey guys, how are we doing on time?
We are, let me check.
12 minutes, maybe 11.
Give me a second here. Let me check. So
12 minutes.
3:35.
Yoni was nice, he was there before
Yeah,
you,
we
so
got some minutes left.
okay, cool.
11.
So in the closing, ask pointed questions. Okay, how did I do? Is there anything on my resume that is of a concern for you? Okay, let me know. This is a good time. Say if they say this is what you want to watch out. Oh, we are interviewing a lot of candidates, so it will take us an X amount of time to get back to you. That's a positive thing. But if they don't give you any such leads, that means you screwed up in the interview. You didn't do too well. Okay, generally speaking. Cool. Um, what are the next steps and when? This is the very pointed question you want to ask. Okay, what are the next steps and when? Okay, between now and then, would you like me to brush up on any of the things? That's a good way to ask, right? Warm handshake again. Ask them if they can connect with you, or you can connect with them on LinkedIn. Remember, not Facebook. Okay, and then just follow up, reach out to them, let them know this is where you met them in the interview, and you would like to go ahead and be inspired by his network. Okay, that's a good way to put it. Basically, you're brown nosing, but that's okay. And don't bring up salary yet. This is in the second interview. Okay, cool. Um, Logging. I'm just going to show you this, something like this. Okay, where did you apply for, right? Role, source, status, follow up. A lot of people don't do this, and as a result of which, I'll share with you what mistake I have made. I went to a recruiter and applied for some source fund company, not the hedge fund company here in Boston. What I did not realize was that this guy was actually farming resumes. I don't know if you are aware what farming resumes is. Okay. And I did not hear from him for 7 days. So somebody else approached me for the same thing. And I said, yes, please go ahead and apply, because I did go through this resume, this company, and they did not get back to me. So the moment my resume was there, the CIO was pretty much in bed with the other recruiter. And he says, I got such and such people. Do you have them with you? So what happened was, he did not want my resume. The first recruiter did not want my resume to be submitted through anybody else, or because he already had submitted somebody, so that he can show to the company that, see, there's nothing else in the market that you can really look for. Okay, so please watch out against such people. When you are going through a recruiter, tell them, okay, if I don't hear back from you 2 to 3 days, I'll apply to anybody else who can get me an interview there. Okay, so feel free to do that. But definitely, if you do not have this kind of records in place, you can run into a problem of being double presented to the same company, and you will be blacklisted. And as I was, and I still am. So make sure you follow up, write a thank you note to them. Um, if you don't get the job, or if you don't get a regret message, right, then what do you do if you get a regret message, right? Then you can definitely say, okay, please, I would like to have a chat with you, or the interviewer, see what happened. Usually they'll say, we actually hired somebody was meeting our requirements more closely than you are, which basically means that, sorry, dude, don't ask me any more questions. So, but before we go into this conclusion, right, I just wanted to share something specific to Azure. Azure, definitely look for certifications. So when you're looking for the jobs, you will see they're looking for certifications of type 1 or 2 or whatever it is, right? Go ahead and get those certifications. Please sign up on Azure. They give you like a $200 free kind of time on which you can do that. You can have 10 different logins, and every time you'll have a $200 thing. Please, more important than just going ahead and creating a SQL server there, or just creating a SQL server hybrid database or a Synapse database. More importantly, you really want to constantly keep on looking at the marketplace, see what is available for you out there. That is how you study for your Azure interviews. The most important thing is keep on looking what they're looking for. Practice on Azure, because what are the chances that you can actually do it in your home? You will have to have a login there. Okay. A lot of companies have MSDN licenses, which means you have free access to Azure. Use it responsibly, uh, and take take your certifications. Unfortunately, these certifications last you only 2 or 3 years now. Even more sad is the fact that by the time you finish studying the interface would have already changed by the time you actually go to use it. But your familiarity as to how to go about finding information in a timely manner on Azure, right? Knowing Custo, uh, query language for monitoring, knowing the scripting language for Azure, right? The CLI, a lot of these things you want to keep in touch with. Okay, so preparing for an Azure interview is slightly difficult than a normal interview, but whatever is the normal plus a little more on the cloud side will really help you. The same applies for AWS, but the only thing that sucks about AWS is that you do not have any free tryouts there. If you have it, you have to do it at your own expense, otherwise you're screwed. So AWS, that is why you can't really do much on AWS. If you are going to be interviewing for, say, Snowflake database on Azure, Snowflake gives you $400 worth of credit, right? Go ahead and play with it, right? Why not? Till you run out of $400, even if you have to make it $410 or $450, at least you know how to play around that. So that's crucial. The third and the most important thing that I want to tell you about Azure is that if you do not have a login, still, if you go to learning.microsoft.com, you should be able to get a lot of these courses which are free. Repeat after me. These courses are free. But Prash, we don't have an Azure account. What do I do? Okay. So what they do is they actually give you a free sandbox, which will last you for approximately 8 hours. So in that 8 hours that you are doing the course, you have plenty of opportunities to go back, drop the database, drop the VM, start all over again. So 2 or 3 times, if you follow it right, you should be able to use the same sandbox 2 to 3 times to play around. So learning.microsoft.com, awesome free resource. Go to your local Azure user groups. Boston, we have two user groups for Azure, not North Indian, North Boston Azure group and the Boston Azure group. So we have a lot of opportunities from our side. Um, Due to COVID, you have a lot of these opportunities that are available to you virtually as well. So please feel free to go ahead and exploit that. Again, network all the time, prepare for your interviews, um, get your resumes written by professionals. I'm telling you, that's the first thing that the people will see in the interview. Arrive early, interview the interviewers, have a very powerful closing, and always follow up. Okay. Um, That's my contact information again. For those who are lazy enough not to write it down earlier, feel free to reach out to me on any of these four methods. And I look forward to you attending any of the future sessions. If you have a local user group where you would like me to present this for you, again, reach out to me, right? If you hate it, let me know so that I can do a better job next time. But please do be very, very frank with me. Okay, what you like, what did you not like, and if you liked it, definitely please tweet about it. I look forward to that. There's a good time for questions. We have like a 1.5 minute to go. So if you have any questions, comments, bouquets, brickbats, thank you. Ray, you're a great supporter, a good friend.
Seems like Yoni has a question, perhaps.
Sure.
Let
Now, I
me.
think
I'm gonna allow the
Yoni had
mic.
raised his hand earlier. Go ahead, Yoni, if you'd like to unmute yourself.
Hey, yes, Parish. I want a few, an advice in regard to, for example, if I have a skill that I have been, I don't know, training myself for 1 year or something, I feel very comfortable in that regard, but I don't have a production experience to show in that regard. How will you approach that during the interview if you are not asked? I would say that they are looking for a C# engineer, but you may have a Python skill that you have been learning for a while, but you have that skill that is, the programming logic, the structure, and all the things. It might be take you, let's say, a couple of times, like 2 weeks or 1 week, to know the new methods and the new function, all the thing. How would you approach that?
So actually, this is an excellent question. We just went through this with this girl whom I'm training now. And seriously speaking, if you look at it, right, if you are a DBA, then your experience with production really helps, right? Because, oh, geez, what happens if you drop a freaking database or you just reformat the C drive, right? In BI, if you are going to be in BI field, for example, right, in Azure or wherever it is, what are the chances that they actually give you a read write access to anything? Zero. So you can always say that, yes, I've had the pleasure and the privilege of working in a lower region, but the fundamentals are still the same. Something that you might have learned in your church or your temple or your mosque is that, the teachings that have changed the world haven't changed. So I know what we would do if it is production. You can always start with a smaller database or something like that with me, something that is not as important, and I would definitely like to have a shot at it. But in BI, I doubt if it really matters if you actually handle production or not, because everything you do in BI has to start with development and QA, right? There's nothing like a direct introduction into production ever. Unlike in DBA, oh, wait, I need this index now. You don't have the time, or you have to defrag or compress the tables. You won't do that, of course, right? But in production, but you'll follow the process, right? So you can definitely say. The other thing you can also say is that one of the good things about software development lifecycle is that you always go through the lower regions first, for which I have plenty of experience. Now, following the processes that a company has, getting it approved from all sides is a very good way of handling it into or getting it into production. So I think we are 1 minute over the thing, but Yonik, please connect with me on Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever is convenient for you, sir. And
Okay,
I look forward to answering any other questions. But I think we should respect the time. And I look forward to you guys winning tons of prizes today. Right? Cool.
thank you.
So enjoy, everyone. Bye.